So as I was saying earlier, the purpose of table topics is to give us a chance to practice impromptu responses to questions we might not expect. And that's what I'm going to do is throw out a series of questions that you don't know what's coming. You may find yourself in a job interview where somebody will throw out a question that you weren't expecting. But if you've had practice before handling impromptu questions, you can find ways to segue to something else or answer the question. You're not thrown by it. It's not something that you've never done before. So I am going to go ahead and begin the process of asking. I will ask the question and then pick the person each time. So you don't know who it's going to go to until after I've asked the question. And here's my first question. If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would it be, Dennis?
You just want to make me make some funny voices again, I think. That's what you're hoping for here. I'm not going to give you that opportunity today. I'm not going to make any funny voices. Well, maybe at the end. We'll see how it goes. A cartoon character that I would like to hang out with. I think it might be, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Now, of course, you know me, I'm a runner. So if I could run with the Roadrunner as fast as he goes across all desert and snow, I mean, I think I'm built and I'm fit and I'm prepared to do that run, right? Snow, ice, whatever, sun, let's go. But the interesting character there was actually the Wile E. Coyote. Because you got to think about this poor coyote that's just trying to figure it out. He's just hungry, man. He just wants something to eat. And he's trying to catch this darn bird running over the desert, chasing him with rockets. But he's got some good ideas, I tell you. I mean, that coyote could have been an engineer. You think about the rocket on his back, the rollerblades on his feet. He was bound and determined to keep up with that Roadrunner. And, you got to pick his brain. Somebody with that much imagination, with that much technical know-how, would be able to solve a lot of the world's problems. Now, maybe he never caught the Roadrunner, but let's be honest, his ideas were fantastic. And everybody knows that you got to fail a little bit at first before you succeed. Of course, Coyote, he failed a lot. He failed every time. He never caught that Roadrunner, but he would definitely be an interesting cartoon character to pick the brain of because he would have a great imagination, lots of crazy ideas, and it'd be fun to finally catch that bird and have something to eat. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I think Wile E. Coyote's problem was he always ordered from the same company, Acme Manufacturing. And unfortunately, everything he ordered did not work. So I think there was a famous case of Roadrunner versus Acme Corporation, in which he took them to court for failed products that did not live up to their expectations. But that is another question. Thank you very much. If you could choose any two famous people to have dinner with, who would it be, Neha?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that question. I'm just going to need a couple of seconds to think of which two famous people I'd like to have dinner with. Okay, so the first famous person I'd like to have dinner with is the hockey player Leon Draisaitl. I love the Oilers. I am a very, very passionate hockey fan, and my favorite hockey player is Leon Draisaitl, only partially because I think he's good looking, but he is also a very, very good player, and it would be my dream to meet him. Sometimes I'm going to come off as creepy. Sometimes I'll look at his Instagram to see if he's anywhere in town that I can maybe spot him. And so it would be my dream, absolute dream, to have dinner with Leon Draisaitl. The other person I would like to have dinner with is maybe Michelle Obama. This is now a completely other obsession, but I think she's just so admirable. as like a future lawyer, I want to be like her. Maybe not the first lady of America, but I want to be able to champion people's rights the way she has. And I just really admire her, and I think it would be such a pleasure to meet her and see what she's actually like in person, and just have the pleasure of being with her. So yep, back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much for that answer, and two good choices. Absolutely. Now, if aliens landed on Earth tomorrow and offered to take you home with them, would you go, Monica? If aliens landed on the planet Earth and said, Monica, come with us, we'll take you to our world, would you go with them, Monica?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. If the aliens going to take me to their planet, I will scream. I would definitely not going to go with them because I'm so scared. Yeah, there's no chance. I love the world, the earth. I have families. I will maybe ask, may I take my family with me? Yeah, so that's all. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Sorry, I guess I was not on mute. Well, yes, that's a good answer because absolutely, you have no idea what you're facing. So it might be a good idea, be a little bit nervous. But if the family came, yeah, then they'd be screaming, no. Now, what is your favorite summertime activity? Karen, what is your favorite summertime activity?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. No, I was just thinking about that as we opened up the meeting and the dog days of summer, and what is the one thing I enjoy the most? And I brought up an activity that my daughters and I enjoyed last week when it was so hot. And we stayed up crazy late, and I have an outdoor swimming pool that's above ground. And so we would go swimming at about 8, 10, 11 o'clock at night to get cool. And then we would sit outside on the lawn chairs until 11 or 1 o'clock. And I introduced them to my favorite activity when I was a child. And that was to play hide and go seek in the dark across a perimeter of neighboring yards. And it was the best thing ever. So when I was growing up, there was a whole gaggle of us neighborhood kids, and we would wait until dark and we would play hide and go seek. And it was like you'd be running across yards. I mean, of course we had, specific 5-block range, 10-block range. It got quite a bit larger as we got older. So it was just so much fun. And so I introduced my teens to that this last week. It was only a 2 neighborhood house range, but that was my favorite activity. Staying up late, hanging out outside, and then eventually becoming little hooligans with the neighborhood kids. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
Okay, thanks for that, troublemaker. Moving on. If you could choose your dreams, what would you dream about, Amani? What would you dream about? If you could pick your dream.
If I could choose my dream, I would probably dream of going back in time. And this might sound a bit nerdy, but I'd like to dream about going to the Library of Alexandria, because it was actually burned down by the Romans. So there's a lot of lost knowledge in there. And I would just really like to go back and see what they were working on, because they say if it wasn't burned down, civilization would have advanced by hundreds of years at this point. So I'd really like to go back and see what those old philosophers and inventors are working on, and hopefully join in. That is, yeah.
That would be a cool journey to go on. Absolutely. The Lost Library of Alexandria. What a tremendous loss. And moving on. Thank you for that great answer. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 people you want on your team? Pierre, who are the 3 people in the zombie apocalypse you want on your team?
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master. The zombie apocalypse is coming, and fellow Toastmasters, this is a journey to war. I've got 3 specific members that I want on my team. First of all, I want John Wick on my team. Yeah, that's right. Because he knows he's definitely gonna give him a good whooping. The second guy that I want on my team, Joe Pesci. I mean, just give Joe Pesci a baseball bat and he will take care of anything. Have you ever seen him in a Martin Scorsese movie? Baseball bat, boom, the end. And third of all, there's someone that you definitely should not mess with. A nun with a ruler. Yeah, that's right. I'm going old school. Yeah, you all remember those nuns with those rulers? One, like they're either gonna come to you with that ruler and smack you around, or if not, they're just gonna lecture you until you are bored. Those zombies are gonna be bored until they just turn around the other way and just say, okay, we've had enough, we surrender. And there you go. You've got enough. One is gonna talk to them to boredom, one will and 2 of them are gonna whoop them physically. The end. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Wow, I just see the cast for a new zombie movie. Well done, sir. Well done. Record temperatures were set last week in Canada. What are your views about global warming and what our future is? Leonel.
Well, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a master in those issues, but I saw a lot of difference between last year and this year. Maybe it's global warming a reality. Some guys are saying that this is not the cause, but I think it's too hot. And from 1937, we didn't have that kind of weather here in Edmonton. And it's very hot weather. And the other thing is that the poles are melting. And the other thing is that the level of the sea is increasing. And there's some species that are dying. And it's an issue, it's a problem. But as Patrick said, last time we talked about that, we are going to face that, not only human race, but animals and plants. We are going to survive. I don't think we are going to die as dinosaurs. We are going to we are going to survive everything because we are done We have knowledge and maybe some cover in the earth. We are going to solve that. But we have another planet. We can think about Mars. Maybe if we are not going to live here in the earth, we have another solution. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. I mean, table topic master.
Thank you so much, Leonel. Yeah, it is interesting times. If you were on a desert island, would you rather be alone, completely alone, or with your worst enemy? That's your choice. You could be with your worst enemy or completely alone. What would you rather be, alone or with your worst enemy? Sorry, Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. If I was in a desert island, would I rather be alone or with my worst enemy? I think, and I believe, I should be with my worst enemy. Why? Because at least we are two of us. So one, it will lessen the pain of the heat. So at least when it's too hot, I can lament and maybe blame my worst enemy for it. So I have someone to share my pity and my suffering with. So we're in it together. Another reason why I would want my worst enemy there, at least we can hold a truce, because now we are suffering. So we'll save our energy rather than fighting. We can now at least try and preserve our energies and hold a truce. And maybe one day when it cools down, we can pick up our fight again. But in the meantime, I think we're in the same journey and it will make it a bit easier for both of us. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Well, I like your positive attitude that the eternal fight will go on and never end. And you can count on one thing. I want to thank everybody for their questions, and please send me your vote for who you thought was the best. I gave the best tabletop topics response in the chat line, and then I will share that with our at the end of the meeting. So I'll just kind of go through as you're doing that. Dennis, he thought the Roadrunner, or no, Wile E. Coyote was the one he'd actually spent some time with. You know, his constant, never quitting attitude. Neha wanted to meet Leon Draisaitl, the Oiler, and Michelle Obama. You have two fine choices, absolutely. And if aliens landed on Earth, Monica said the first response would be, and they invited her to come with, she'd scream, she'd be scared, and then say, can I bring the family? Karen, her answer to favorite summer activities was neighborhood, chasing hide and seek in the neighborhood, which is actually kind of a cool game, as long as you don't have grouchy old neighbors. That's kind of the main thing. And Amini was dream of going back to the Alexandria Library. Wow, that would be pretty cool, definitely. Zombie apocalypse. Oh, well, the dream team, John Wick, Joe Pesci, and a nun with a ruler. Can't go wrong there. Record temperature set by Leonel. And that was Pierre, by the way, with the zombie apocalypse. Leonel, yeah, he said lots of indicators show that we could have definitely changes are coming. And Patrick, Desert Island, he'd be with his worst enemy so that they could have they could complain to each other. At least they've got that for entertainment. And that is it. Send me your favorite answer in the chat. Who gave you your favorite answer? And then I will share that at the end of with our Toastmaster. And it'll be presented at the end of the meeting as best table topics. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.